And welcome to 123. I'm Frank, and today we're going to start out with Superstar of the Week because we got so much to cover today. And I was really tired because weekend tired me out, man. Here we go. Tony Russell, born 19th of October 1995, is the New Zealand Australian professional wrestler best known by the ring name Tony Storm. She's currently signed to All Elite Wrestling. She previously worked for WWE, where she is former NXT UK Women's Champion. She first gained attention in WWE from her 2017 to 2018 performances in the Mae Young Classic tournament. She progressed to the tournament's semifinals in 2017 and won it in 2018 at the WWE Evolution pay-per-view. WWE's first all women's pay per view. In 2018 2021, she performed on the next NXT, UK, NXT, and SmackDown brands before her release in December of 2021. Beyond WWE, Storm has performed in the Japan based World Wonder Ring Stardom, aka Stardom, where she was the first non Japanese wrestler to hold its world title, the World of Stardom Championship. She also held Stardom's SWA World Championship for a record setting reign of 612 days in the UK based Progress Wrestling. She held the Progress Women's Championship in the German based Westside Extreme Wrestling. She held the WXW Women's Championship twice. And she's now in AEW, and she was brought out on Dynamite this last week on TBS, and she challenged the Bunny in the Owen Hart Invitational, or I can't remember what the name of it is. The Owen Hart tournament that seems to be for all women at the moment, which I'm not sure why that is. If you wanted to let me know, feel free to tell me right here and in the broadcast. Then we'll talk about Dynamite a little bit, but not too much. Probably about that much. That might be the extent of Dynamite. So I think, let me think. This weekend was a blur, and I'm going to try and. I'm just basically going to talk about all the highlights that I thought were amazing, what you should check out, what I don't think you should check out, or what's worth it, what isn't worth it. I guess we'll talk about Dynamite a little bit. Let's see. We had CM Punk going against Max Caster, which was a pretty good match. CM Punk, of course, went over. No big surprise there. But it was a pretty good match. Max Caster is really good with his flow as far as his rap, and has a pretty good ability to do promo. And his hype man, Bowens, is pretty good too. I think both of them have a really good chance of being at the top of their game, hopefully in AEW. But if they choose to go somewhere else, I think they do have the option for sure. And then we had, later, just thinking of the matches, not really in any order. Then we had Bryan Danielson versus Wheeler Yuta. That was a pretty good match. He just pretty much got stomped by Danielson, but it was still a very athletic match where he definitely tried to keep up. He really tried to follow the pacing with Daniels, and Danielson. It was really good. Then we had I'm thinking just, as far as matches go. Then we had John Moxley versus Jay Lethal. I always like to say Jay Lethal come out, and he lost against Moxley, and that would come back, and I'll be mentioned later. Then later in the week, we got I guess I should mention the go home show for Raw, where after Seth Rollins had destroyed all the furniture and really wanted to get a match, he was finally told to over the weekend to go and talk to Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon told him that, hey, I've got a match for you. Why didn't you come to me in the first place and get your feet off my desk? But for some reason, Vince seemed to be perfectly cool with Seth surfboarding on his desk. I thought that was really weird. But he's like, I'm not going to fire you. I don't know if that meant indefinitely. I didn't, it felt like he had like some kind of a get away with stuff free card, because he's just like, at first it's like, get your feet off my desk. Then it was like, okay for him to. The inconsistency that I see sometimes in WWE, and those are like small potatoes, to be honest. But yeah, that was kind of strange. Then let's see. Bobby Lashley returned, challenged Almost, and so it's going to be Almost versus Bobby Lashley. I think it was a draw. I didn't think the Go Home show was that bad. And also, another thing I was going to say is that the Dynamite show, I felt like they did a really good job as far as with commercials. Like as far as not commercials, but video packages. I think they did better with video packages and explaining what was going on with various people throughout the night. Much better than they've ever done. And I'm surprised that nobody's brought it up, but I guess it's because of my hyperfixation with editing and video and all those things that I really noticed it. So next we had just trying to think. We had Darby Allin and versus Andrade. That was now we're just going back to Dynamite, and that was a pretty good match. I don't know. Like, I would think that it would be a little bit faster. It's weird because Andrade, when he was in NXT, was a really solid wrestler, and then when he came to the main roster, he had some issues. And now that he's come to Dynamite, he's got some of the same issues, and I don't know why. Because when he was Andrade in NXT, he was really followed and loved and stuff. So. And he won some belts, and I think the NXT championship. So it's kind of weird that that's not really the case in this situation. Let's see. We had and then I got to tell you, this is crazy, but I decided that I was going to go to WonderCon this weekend in Anaheim, and did a little bit of coverage of that, and that'll be on Gaming Fix Live, posted fairly soon. Because like part of it was started, and then is like B-roll stuff like that. Anyway, because of that, I think I decided that I wanted to see the ROH match on Friday, and I also was going to see Rampage. Although I didn't actually see Rampage, I just got kind of a synopsis of Rampage when I heard, and nothing really struck me, but it wasn't bad. It's nothing really was like, ooh, that's really cool. But I watched ROH. I watched ROH though. It was kind of funny. I got home from the convention after playing a game of D&D at 2 o'clock in the morning, and if you're wondering, like, yeah, the pay per view is expensive. It was like $30. So what I did instead is I ordered Honor Club, and that gives you the pay per view for free. And I watched the pay per view for free at 2 in the morning. Not free, but for the Honor Club price of $10. So I watched that. It was pretty cool. And I know that also, like, if there's any ROH this month on TV, then I can watch that too. So I kind of like that. It'll give me a little bit more options to watch ROH. I also watch Dark. So I watch Dark. I watch Being the Elite. I watch all of the things that some people can't take the time to. Being the Elite is kind of weird because I think a lot of people don't realize. I think a lot of the AEW fans realize, but a lot of people don't realize that you can sit there and say that Being the Elite doesn't have anything to do with the program, but it does because it spawned the program. The program, the Dynamite show, was advertised and promoted through Being the Elite. So you can't exactly say they're not connected in any way. They clearly are. So then we had we had ROH, and ROH was pretty good. They had some good matches. I didn't know everybody in the matches, but I did still like some of them. I'll talk to the ones that I saw and the ones that I actually stayed up through. I did not see the Wheeler Yuta match, although I'm sure it was a good match, and I know that Wheeler Yuta did win that championship. I'm trying to think what other matches I actually saw. I think I fell asleep to a lot of them. But the two that I definitely did see, I saw Grisham versus Bandito, which was a pretty good match. And I saw the aftermath of that when Jay Lethal, after screwing some folks, came back and wanted to be given respect by Grisham because he had trained Grisham, and so he wanted some respect from that. And then there was also the reason I bought the pay-per-view was the Briscoes versus FTR match because I'm a big FTR fan. So I went and I rewound that and watched it again later in the day and found out that it was just really a good match. Very solid all the way around. Both competitors they're just super solid. It did end up going to FTR, which I thought was fine. And they had the aftermath of the Young Bucks coming in. I'm not sure if that was needed. There was a couple things where it was the changing of the guard, like Tully Blanchard bringing in the new stable. One of which was Brian Cage, which I don't know. I thought it was okay, I guess, but it's not necessarily the same kind of feel. And then we had two other gentlemen that I honestly didn't know, but that were now part of the stable. A lot of championships changed. Like one of the championships went to Martinez, so a lot of the championships went to AEW wrestlers as opposed to ROH wrestlers. And I don't know if that means that they're going to amscray all of the ROH wrestlers, or like if Tony's just going to put some types of AEW wrestlers in there, I think that would be a mistake. I think that definitely you want to have the same pedigree with some of these wrestlers. So I'm hoping that they bring in, you know, these different wrestlers, but we'll see. Then we had at the very end, after all of the rigmarole between, wow, sorry, there was a big long eye booger there. With with Jay Lethal and Grisham, then we suddenly had the return of Samoa Joe, and he backed up Grisham, and so now it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do. And then Tony also announced that Joe is going to now be in Dynamite going forward as well. So I don't know. I really do feel a little bit very concerned. I don't know that Tony can run both organizations at the same time and have them both be the same caliber. I think it would have been a lot smarter to bring in, I don't know, just spitballing here, maybe Cody Rhodes as the GM, or as a booker or half booker or something like that. I mean, one thing I think Tony needs to understand is it's perfectly acceptable to have somebody else do the work and then for you to just supervise it and see if it works for you. But to make sure that you've got your hands in all of the books all the time and no one else is doing it, it's a waste of time in my opinion. But that's okay. It's his choice. Hopefully it doesn't mean it's going to ruin our show, because it concerns me a little bit, but there's nothing I can really do about it. Except for, of course, make noise what I'm doing. So then next we had so that was ROH, which I thought was really pretty cool. Didn't really see much about SmackDown. Heard a little bit from Jim Cornette this morning that basically SmackDown was a lot about Austin Aries, which makes a lot of sense. Or sorry, Austin Theory. And just to let you know about Austin Theory, there's a lot of people that are like, we don't like Austin Theory. It's interesting because Jim Cornette, who had some of the aggression era superstars in OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling. He actually worked with John Cena, and he's basically saying that he thinks that Austin Theory has the workings of John Cena, but he's figured it out earlier. The light's on earlier than it was with John Cena. So that is interesting to me, and we may see a really quick jump in the uptake with Austin Theory. And but yeah, basically Pat McAfee kicked in the door, which made Vince McMahon angry, and he said, who do you think you are, and all this. And Austin Theory was like running up behind Daddy and basically saying, ha 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 ha, that kind of thing, which a little bit strange for adults, but that's kind of what was happening. And that's what I really that was the biggest thing I'd heard that happened on SmackDown. So I did not watch the Hall of Fame because honestly, I didn't know that I could watch the Hall of Fame at that time. But I mean, it would have been hard because, like I said, I was watching during the day. And then the next thing I did was I went to treatment. And when I went to treatment, I watched NXT Stand and Deliver, which I thought was pretty good. It's pretty good matches. I had some good women's matches. And it's funny because like they're a lot of it's a blur. I'm trying to think some of the matches that interested me. I liked Tommaso Ciampa fighting against uh, oh I can't think of his actual name, but I'll just say his he's the one with the Italian character, kind of mobby guy. I thought that was kind of a cool character concept, and really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that when Tommaso Ciampa was done, Triple H came out, gave him a big hug. So I think it's a good possibility that we might see Tommaso Ciampa in the main roster now from now on. Then we had Gunther going against LA Knight. I still have so many problems with the Gunther name, but you know, I felt like Walter was fine. A lot of people liked Walter as a name. It worked for them. I didn't see a reason to fix that, but Vince McMahon did for whatever reason. So it was Walter against LA Knight with Walter winning. Have you seen those slaps? Man, they're crazy. So yeah, totally won. There was a recap of the Hall of Fame a little bit because Braun Breaker, for no reason except for, of course, that he's Rick Steiner's son, inducted him and his uncle into the Hall of Fame, Scott Steiner. And they haven't really mentioned it, but then the broadcasters were mentioning it all the time, so that was a thing. I don't know if they're gonna finally ditch the Braun Breaker name. I think that would be awesome. Call him by his name, Rex Steiner. I think that would be cool because, that's one of the reasons he's doing so well. I mean, he does have a good character. It doesn't need the Steiner name on it, but except for the fact that his everything that he does in the ring screams Steiner. And like watching him by now, I would have said something like, hey, man, he looks very much like Rick Steiner. I wonder why that is. And so now I know. So there's that. I can't really remember. There was a triple match with the Diamond Mine and Imperium, and I can't remember the name, but who used to be the Radicals in Impact were fighting against each other, and now we have the new champions, the Radicals, which I want to say is like WJX or something like that. It's basically initials of some kind, and I just can't remember what they were. But yeah, so that was really cool. And when I got home, I tuned in to my favorite to Wrestle Talk to listen to the guys talk about the match. And actually, before I get into that, let's talk about the T-shirt. Now, I know I'm wearing the Cheech and Chong shirt. This is picked this up at a swap meet. But if you want curated, cool, geeky shirts, you should go on to tpublic.com/gamingfix. That's tpublic.com/gamingfix. slash stores slash GAMING hyphen FIXX. You just go there and you can find all kinds of things right now. I think we have a massive 13 t-shirts, including the 2 t-shirts for the official Gaming Fix shirts. And of course, more importantly to you, we have the 123 logo, just like right behind. We have it in a retro style. We have it in a 3-color, and we have it just like this, just like it is right here in the back. And you can get that as a sticker. You can get that as a bag. You can get that as a t-shirt, and all of those help us, and we appreciate it. All you got to do is go to tpublic.com/stores/GAMING hyphen FIXX. Once again, that's tpublic/stores/gaming hyphen FIXX. And we really appreciate it. Anything that you do like that, it really helps us out. And now we're going to go into night 1 of WrestleMania. We had top of the match, probably match of the night, was Becky Lynch against Bianca Belair. This was a real good story-driven match. Bianca, of course, went over like everybody pretty much had thought that she would. It really told a story about when she lost her championship from Becky Lynch to now, and they both put on a pretty good clinic wrestling match. It was really good. Then we had Ray, and actually, I guess that might have been night 2. I did fall asleep through some of these matches. I'll be honest. I was very tired. My treatment makes me tired, and just Saturday in general. So then we had and then we let's see. We had Bobby Lashley against Almost. I'm gonna get the days wrong. I'm not gonna lie, guys. And Bobby was able to take him out. And actually, the other one that we had, I remember, it was Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura versus the Usos. And Rick Boogs did something kind of not the smartest and tried to lift both Usos on his back and tore his Achilles tendon, I think, or something like that, basically near his leg, because he was trying to hold 2 grown men on his back, as Luke Owen mentioned on Wrestle Talk. Then we had the so, of course, I remember the ones from last night, but the ones before, the ones on Saturday, were a little bit more hard to remember. Even though they were it was a really good match. And then we had Riddle versus RK Bro versus the Alpha Academy versus the Street Profits. And the overall winner, of course, was RK Bro. Not a big surprise. Pretty solid match. Not an amazing match, but not a bad, solid match. Then we had Seth show up and start making some demands. And that's when we're not making demands, but basically waiting until we had the lights go dim, and we heard in a loud whisper, it's like there's more than one family in wrestling. And that's when Cody Rhodes came out to his music by coming up from the elevator, and pretty much the full boat, including his costume, looked identical as if he was on loan from AEW, because it was the exact same thing, no changes, no differentiations, the way that a lot of times WWE tends to do things. So that was kind of interesting. And then, of course, Cody won the match. Seth said some kind of nasty things. It was good storytelling. Pretty good. After that, I think we had I think after that was the KO show, where he called out, where Kevin Owens called out Stone Cold, and then it turned out to be a ruse put up by um, Kevin Owens, in hopes that his plan being that he would challenge Stone Cold Steve Austin to a wrestling match. So he challenged him a no holds barred wrestling match, figuring that he would have a win. Stone Cold Steve Austin then asked the crowd if they wanted to have a match, and if so, to give him a hell yeah. Of course, they hell yeah'd him, and the match was on. So we actually had a match between Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin that, of course, ended with Stone Cold drinking a lot, and I mean a lot, of his beer. And, of course, stunning Kevin. They fought through the crowd. They fought on the stage. It was a really pretty good bout. So night two, oh, and then at the end, after that, there was a match between Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair, which honestly was not great. It was okay. Didn't end really great. Charlotte won, but it didn't look amazing, and I guess Ronda Rousey's upset about it, from what I understand. So it wasn't a super happy match. And The Miz and Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio and Dominic, which was a fairly good match with Rey and Dominic going over. That was a pretty good match. Not to repeat myself, although I already have, so probably too late. Then we also had the four-way tag teams with Naomi um, and Sasha Banks, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, Carmella and Liv Morgan. I already did that one. Uh, Carmella and the woman that was the manager for Andrade and I can't think of their names right now. And then also Shayna Baszler and Natty Neidhart. They all went in a fight, and then the winner, of course, was Sasha Banks and Naomi. That's what I think is accurate. If I'm not, sorry about that. Then we had Johnny Knoxville, which was amazing, and that is a silly match, but you should go watch it. All I'll say is a giant mousetrap may or may not have been involved, so definitely go check that out. And then we had Austin Theory call out or get introduced by Vincent McMahon. One highlight was that turns out Pat McAfee can jump from the ring all the way onto the third rope, which was kind of amazing. Then after Austin Theory Pat McAfee beat Austin Theory, Vince McMahon was challenged by Pat McAfee to a wrestling match, which he actually accepted. So you had a 76-year-old man basically squashing Pat McAfee. Then the glass broke, and you actually had another moment, a WrestleMania moment, where it looked like they were going to settle their beefs between Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon, but it turned out that didn't work out. So of course, Stone Cold stunned. Is it stunned or stunned? Stunned Mr. McMahon, and he flopped away, and that was a pretty interesting scene, very funny. And I just realized I had I was given the rock elbow or eyebrow. So then we had the big match, now called the biggest match, because I guess it wasn't as good as. Oh, AJ Styles was really good. Sorry that I didn't mention it. It was really solid, and ended with a possible faction forming of. I'm really sorry that I'm blanking. It's just sometimes I'm just not remembering things. Damian Priest. So Damian Priest has joined Edge's faction, and in like 12 minutes for you if you're on the East Coast, you're definitely going to get to watch the Raw after Mania, and that should be really good. I'll be watching it with you at 8 o'clock when we can watch it, and hopefully it'll be good. Could be really great 3 hours with a lot of surprises, returns, all that. Looks really good. And then, of course, our last match of the evening was Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. That CGI is scary on all accounts. The Cody CGI is now scary. The Taker's CGI with the purple eyes is creepy. The Roman Reigns CGI is creepy. The snakes, when they're fighting each other, very creepy. I don't want any part of it. I'll be honest. I'm worried that those statue CGI, alternative AI, whatever you want to call it, I'm just worried that it's going to cause trouble, and I'm not having it. So they're really creepy. So then they're fighting each other, and then it just comes down to a bunch of suplexes. Brock Lesnar goes for the F5 and doesn't quite get it. Roman Reigns is dropped. Oh, this is after Brock tried to pull Roman's arm out of his socket. He after that, Roman was able to lock it was a Superman. I don't know what he got him with that thing, but might have been a Superman punch into the ground. And our winner is, or might have been a spear. But our winner and new champion of both belts, unified, which I guess is now the WWE Universal Undisputed Championship, is Roman Reigns. And that's when it went off the air. And I am sorry if I missed anything. And if I did, I'm really sorry. And feel free to correct me. But yeah, that was this weekend. It was a good time. And it is now 4:50 by my clock. So in 10 minutes, enjoy Raw. And hopefully it will be a fun time. And it won't be a letdown like it has been most of the time. This is usually a pretty good Raw, and they really are coming off a really good WrestleMania. So I'm hoping that we have some fun. And speaking of fun, Being the Elite just dropped. You should check it out. It's called Teleportation. I'm not sure if what I saw in the show happened, but I also know that they don't shoot Rampage live. I just know it's still, even if it was not quite the same day, but the next day, it was pretty amazing that the Young Bucks were able to make it onto Ring of Honor after fighting a match on Friday. So thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your support. And please subscribe and give us a like. And feel free to leave comments and all that good stuff. Thanks for tuning into the 1, 2, 3. I'm Frank, and have a great night.